Today we are going to take a look how much impact small incremental changes can have in your financial success. Hello and welcome. My name is Peter B and I welcome you here at My First Million, where we achieve our financial goals together. Actually, what I want to talk about today is the basic principles of Atomic Habits, the book written by James Clear. And I'm quite a fan of this book. And it basically says that small incremental changes can have huge effects over time if you adopt additional incremental changes in your life can have a huge success, a huge effect in the outcomes. And I believe this is also true when it comes to financial decisions. Although a lot of people say you should be focusing on either your income or when it comes to expenses, maybe focus on the big three. The big three usually meaning housing, transportation, and food. If you focus on those big three, you will have the biggest impact in improving your finances. This is true. This will both your income and the big three have the biggest impact on financial outcomes. However, what the book here also is saying shouldn't be neglected, and this is the focus of today's video. So we want to take a look at how even small additional adjustments can impact a financial outcome throughout your life. So first, let me switch over to my beautiful whiteboard and just give you the very basics of the books. Basically, the book is covering 4 laws if you want to implement a new habit, an atomic habit, a small incremental change. And the 4 laws are: make it obvious, make it attractive, make it easy, and make it satisfying. So whenever you want to implement a new habit, you should make sure that you cover those 4 laws. So if you want to improve something, make sure it is obvious. So you will see it maybe. You can find it easily. Maybe there's something on your desk that will remind you of it. Make it attractive so that if you're doing this new habit, that it's pleasurable and you like to enjoy it. You get a positive feeling out of it. Make it easy. So, for instance, if you want to do exercise, make it easy for you to start doing exercise. Not difficult and maybe dependent on the weather or something. Then make it satisfying so that you really can feel satisfaction out of it when you achieve this implementation of this habit. So basically, make sure that those 4 laws are considered, that you consider those 4 laws when you want to implement a new small habit. And it also works the opposite way. If you have a bad habit that you want to get rid of, take those 4 laws and reverse those. So if you want to get rid of a bad habit, then make sure that it will not be obvious. So whatever is triggering your bad habit, make it sure that you will face it as seldom as possible. Make it unattractive as well. Make it difficult to obtain. So the more difficult it is to do the habit, the less often you will perform it until you will keep it out. And make it dissatisfying at the end. So it works both ways, for implementing a habit, but also for get rid of a bad habit. So, talking about this, as mentioned before, a lot of people think about when winning financially, they should have a very good income, a good career, or maybe have their own company, which they can run successfully, or they will also be good at expenses, and when expenses, usually as mentioned before, at the big 3. But now, considering atomic habits in the financial life, I want to just give you an input on how even small incremental changes can also change your financial success significantly. And let's say you are just, because of a small change, you're just able to save $3 per day. $3 per day, this could be a cup of coffee. Maybe if you're smoking, you're cutting back on your cigarettes. That could be $3 a day. This could be less often eating outside and bring your own cooked food for lunch to your office. This could be, instead of driving to office, if you are not living too far away, taking your bike and saving on the gas and riding costs there. So there could be a lot of ways how you can save additional $3 per day. In the end, $3 per day, this will save you roughly $1,000 per year. So if it's exactly $3 per day, of course, it will be a bit more than $1,000 a year. But roughly $1,000. So then the principle that I want to say, take into consideration, or that I want to use to illustrate why this $1,000 a year, although it's not a very significant amount, can have a huge impact, is the rule of 72, or the power of compounding interest. So compounding interest, as mentioned before, means when you do an investment and every time you get a return out of the investment, you will just reinvest it again, so that you don't use up the interest for other things. So with compounding interest, there's the rule of 72 attached to it. I'll link another video from that I did before about the rule of 72 before, if you're not familiar to it, right here. So rule of 72 basically means how long it will take an investment to double. And for me, myself, I think I will be able to achieve around 7 to 8% annual return from investments. So if you divide this 7 to 8%, the 72 divided 7 to 8%, you will get around 10. The result is around 10. So every 10 years, the money could be doubling if invested. So that's my personal goal, and I think it's pretty achievable. So if I would save $1,000 in addition per year, and I would take them and put them into investments, I would end up in a result similar like what I'm showing here. So I have $1,000 at the beginning. After 10 years, if I consider compounding interest, the $1,000 will double to $2,000. After another 10 years, so after 20 years in total, the $2,000 will double again to $4,000. After 30 years, so an additional 10 years, the $4,000 will double again to $8,000. So it will double up. At the beginning, the amounts are pretty small, but you can see after 40 years, you're already above $10,000. After 50 years, you're already more than $30,000. After 70 years, you're already more than $100,000. And after 80 years, you're even $256,000, so $250,000. So $1,000 today is not a lot. But if you can invest it and keep it compounding, it can go to huge amounts. So that's the power of compounding interest. So, of course, it depends on your age. Maybe you're already 40 years old, so you don't have another additional 8 years ahead, or potentially not. Maybe if you're lucky and you're living very healthy and you want to, then maybe you could potentially still have another 8 years. But let's say you're 40 and think you have maybe around 40 or 50 years ahead of you, then at least you have still 40 to 50 years here ahead. So still you can achieve around 16,000 to 32,000 from this $1,000 savings. So if in contrast, if a child, maybe a 10-year-old child, is spending his pocket money every day in a candy store. This could also be like easily a $3 per day expense. Maybe then he would instead asking his parents don't to invest it in an ETF in the stock market. Maybe by the end, when he's around 90 years old, he has a quarter million only by not eating candy for 1 year, or at least not spending his own money for eating candy by 1 year. So this is just a little illustration. Coming back to the video screen. So this is just a little illustration. To make us clear that even small decisions over time, if you let the time run for you, can add up to huge amounts. This is also one thing that, for instance, Warren Buffett is saying, that people are usually just too impatient. They want to have the big money now and don't consider that time is working for them. So if they just let it run for the long term, the results can be huge, enormous. So $1,000 can go up to $250,000 throughout a lifetime. That's possible, and that's not unrealistic. Even though the stock market might be volatile, but over time you have the volatility. It will not have a huge effect anymore on your results. So, do you have any ideas which areas you can save a little bit of money on every day? Please write it in the comments below. I would very much look forward to any tips for myself that I can get from you, either creative or from your daily habits. Yeah, I look forward that we can share those and try to get some input from one another. Thanks a lot for joining me today. I look forward to seeing you again, and especially I look forward to see you win financially.